All right, let's talk about Sony for a little while and some statistics and analysis on their business moves. So okay. Xbox, Microsoft, we know them, we love them. Bought Activision Blizzard, which means they own a lot of new IPs, including Call of Duty. And so
it's popular.
Sony has said, so this is an article from VGC by Andy Robinson titled, Sony says it believes Xbox owning Call of Duty could influence users' console choice. That's a translated, that is a transcribed quote from Sony by VGC in a response to questions from, Brazil's regulatory body. This was also first found in the Reset Era forums, where basically Brazil's regulatory body is taking a look at the deal for Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard, and then Sony, I think, was asked about it. That's sort of all there is to this, other than them explaining why they think people are going to be hopping on board Xbox over Sony as a result of this purchase. What do you think of this? I have some thoughts.
Like the fact that people are going to buy Call of Duty on Microsoft Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where my thoughts are just what I thought about it when I heard it. Oh, that's pretty good for Xbox. They said that they're going to, honor all the contracts that specifically games like Call of Duty and whatever else have made. So they will be launching cross-platform, but eventually it would make sense if Call of Duty becomes an Xbox exclusive franchise.
I think that totally makes sense. And, I think there's so many paths that Microsoft can do to make the most money possible with this and make a good business decision with it. Free-to-play stuff everywhere. The actual game, put it on Microsoft and have specific tie-in things to go with that free-to-play game that you only get on Microsoft and incentivize people to buy that. So many ways for this to happen that I don't think any of this is a bad thing. Maybe if you're like that, you only own a Sony and you're worried about that and you've been Call of Dutying for years and whatever, and that is unfortunate that all of a sudden your favorite game is now switched to another platform. But if you're a big Call of Duty fan on PlayStation now, at one point Call of Duty was big on Xbox. So
that was their thing for the longest time. Yeah. And that's sort of the thing too, right? It just makes sense that Sony, that's what happens when people buy studios. And Sony, you buy studios. I don't know,
Bungie?
Yeah, you just bought Bungie and Destiny is staying cross-platform, but they also made it clear whatever Bungie works on next will not be cross-platform. And whatever Bungie assists on to help them make whatever their live service games are that they've been talking about will not be cross-platform. And that's okay, because that's just how these exclusivity deals work and these, studio purchases work. So yeah, they bought this. So, sorry.
Well, and Microsoft is not going to do something that's going to lose them money. And I honestly believe that the best way for them to make as much money as possible on Call of Duty is to have it everywhere. But there's still going to be ways to incentivize people to play it on Xbox, your system. And I'm sure they'll do that, and it will happen, and it will be fine.
Well, what you just said about Warzone will be everywhere, but then the, campaigns and the new games will be exclusively on Xbox on Game Pass. That's fine by me if I don't have to buy another Call of Duty game ever and just go through the campaign on Game Pass and go oh, that was mean-spirited and felt bad. Well, never think about that again. That's fine, and this is from a place of privilege, right? I have an Xbox, I have a PlayStation. Not everyone is as fortunate as we are, right? And so that is absolutely, it does suck if that is the case. But the fact that Sony would be saying that it's a little odd, because it's oh no, did someone buy up all the studios that you were also buying? I don't know if they were in talks to buy Activision Blizzard. I imagine they were not, because they're not that, they don't have that much money, to my understanding. But you buy things too, Sony. I also, sorry, one last thing about this, and then we can sort of move on here, is that, like, I feel like when they say something like this empowers a lot of, like, console fanboys. You've got the Sony crowd and the Xbox crowd, but, like, the Sony crowd to be like, it is so terrible that they're buying up all these studios and whatever, when it's like, yeah, like, they do that too. You know, I don't know. Like, it was always odd to me when people are, like, upset that Microsoft is buying studios, but then, like, super excited when Sony buys them, because it's just like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, everyone. So.
I love people.
Do you? I don't know if I do. I love some people. I do love people.
You love the people that you need to love.
Yeah. I don't love the people on Twitter.
Except for our lovely followers, and that's another great plug-in opportunity to follow us on Twitter.
At Hitbox Pod on Twitter, always be plugging.
Always be plugging.
Patreon.com/HitboxPod as well. Also our Discord, which the link is in the description of this episode. The other people I love on Twitter, Dots Pretzels. But we'll get around to that later. And by that I mean hopefully in like 4 months, because I did make some promises at the beginning of this episode that I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep. PlayStation sales are looking a little. They've taken not a dip this year, but maybe not. They are not having as big of a year as they have had over the past like two. So from an industry from gamesindustry.biz, they took a look at the earnings report for the end of this most recent quarter, and PlayStation 5 units shipped. They shipped 2.4 million units, which is up by 4%, which is, an increase, but not like a huge increase that you might see, might want if you're a company that is still sort of in the midst of launching a console, despite the fact that it's been 2 years. I would still say we're kind of in the launch period, wouldn't you say? Just because like they've been so hard to get and come by. They actual game software is down by 26%. They're still selling 47.1 million units. But I think it sort of makes sense because of how great a year the games industry had for the past 2 years, based on COVID and lockdowns, people staying home and whatever. Now, as things are opening up again, it seems like, maybe people are going to be buying less video games because the people who are maybe more casual gamers that were buying games during lockdowns and whatever just don't have the time and aren't playing as many. I think this is interesting. PlayStation Plus subscribers are up by 2%, so that's 47.3 million. That isn't accounting for the new stuff, is it? I imagine not.
I think that was with the bump with the new stuff for this
quarter.
Was it? So, with that
only
being
2%, that's interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, if everything else is going down, and then that still went up.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it's not horrible. I'm sure they wanted that to be bigger, but
you're totally right, Justin. This is interesting to me. The digital download ratio is 79% digital versus 31% physical, and then which is that ratio is different from last year when it was 71% digital, 39% physical. I'm still in that 31% physical buyers. Is it 31%? Yeah. No. 79 plus 31 is 100. Yes. Okay.
I would
21%.
I would be. It's fine. 21%. It's math. It's fine.
Yeah.
I would be on that boat with you if in fact, the games didn't need a download, and I was actually sure I had the game on the disc ready to go. But so many of these games still have to download. You still have to get the updates. You still have to do all that stuff to make it work. But
agreed. But a lot of them, the downloads are a lot faster. For Xenoblade, for example, it was 2 minutes because they had to do an update, and then I was playing the game.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Well, Switch is also the
different. It's an outlier. Yes, 100%. Not that is not conducive of the rest of games.
Nintendo doesn't fit in with the rest of the games
Weird.
industry.
How novel.
Strange.
Yeah. So there you go. And then also, with this news, we also have a report here from an industry analyst saying that. So first of all, gaming revenue declined 7%. This is from Microsoft, by the way, in quarter 4 of 2022. Declined 7% the most recent quarter. But that is sort of on trend with what we've been seeing elsewhere. But then the Xbox series of consoles are its best selling hardware to date, which makes sense to me. I know that we've been, it's been hard to get your hands on an Xbox Series X, easier than a PlayStation 5, but still hard. But the Xbox Series S, like, they're around. Like, they're in stock places, in stores, and they're $200 cheaper, and they're just Game Pass machines, man. Like, why wouldn't you buy that if you were looking to get an Xbox? Right now, if you're saying, like, damn, I don't want Call of Duty to go, Xbox only. That Xbox Series S, man, that's going to be enticing for a long time. You know?
Yeah. I think it totally makes sense. And I feel like, even though there are, like, supply issues that are really affecting Sony, I think it's affecting Microsoft, but, like, Microsoft is also, like, happy to have that issue. You know what I mean? Like, oh, wait, we can't make as many as we can. Oh, no, I mean, we can't keep them on the shelves quite long enough. Like, I think it's just healthy for the industry, and I think it's good for Microsoft. They're clearly been consumer first for a long time, so I think this is a good thing to see that they're caring about consumers and making things easy for us is showing up in the sales.
And I think after not that the Xbox One was a failure, it obviously was not, but like after I think Xbox had a clear lead going into that generation of consoles with the Xbox 360 just going nuts on the PlayStation 3. I mean, not that the PlayStation 3 didn't have anything, but like I think the Xbox 360 was, from what we looked at, I mean, in podcast past, the dominant platform. I think they really fumbled the ball with the Xbox One. And so this shift into what they're doing with the Xbox Series stuff, I think has been really refreshing. So yeah, I'm happy to see that they're doing well. Happy for you, Microsoft.
And I think too, even the 360 stuff, I think part of that was a false positive because of how bad Sony did at promoting the PS3 from the beginning. Because
the launch was really bad. Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that by the end of it, PlayStation 3 still sold better.
Did it really?
Yeah. So just looking at Wikipedia here, the end-all be-all for accurate information. The PlayStation 3 sold over 87 million, and the Xbox 360 sold over 84 million.
Oh, no kidding.
But again, for the most of that cycle, the 360 was the one that was successful and doing better. And
got it.
But by the end, I think that's when PlayStation 3. Think of all the games that came out that were like showstoppers at the end of the PlayStation 3.
Yeah, that's
probably
true.
Really like kind of like started to switch that narrative and gave that head start to make the PS4 what the PS4 was.
Yep. No, you're right. So apologies about the incorrect information. I know now.
By the way, fun fact: the Nintendo Switch, it's 10 million units behind the PS4.
Really?
Yeah, so the PS4 sold 17.2 million. The Nintendo Switch is at 107.65 million. So it's almost going to
like 5 years less time, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah. So we're talking about another top contender here in the Nintendo Switch. Still one of my favorite consoles of all time.
Did it outsell the Wii?
Yes,
I think it did. Right?
Yeah,
it
did.
Like
it
recently.
Did. Yeah, the Wii sold 101 million.
And that thing was like fucking hot.
Yeah.